All right, folks, we are about to have an amazing guest, Gene Baur of Farm Sanctuary. Please say where in the world you're from. We are going to talk about veganism. We're going to talk about the Webby Awards, Farm Sanctuary. We're going to talk about inspiring, their inspiring work, changing the world, saving the world from climate change, opening up our hearts, falling in love with empathy and mindfulness and responsibility. All right, we have Gene.
Hey now, it's
Oh my
working.
God.
That's great.
Yeah, we were in the desert. We were lost in the desert.
That was tough. Yes. Well, it's great to see technology working, and this is not something I've done before. So I imagine that some of my lack of knowledge is part of the problem, but we're here. So that's the bottom line.
I would like to just say that both of us in this slightly confusing, frustrating situation are taking responsibility, modeling behavior for toxic white men everywhere, taking responsibility and not pushing blame. So speaking of changing the world from toxic to kind, you guys, Farm Sanctuary, Gene Baur, so inspiring to me and so many millions of people. You guys are up for some award right now. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's right. The Webby Awards, which is this sort of internationally acclaimed recognition for online content. And I'm so happy that Farm Sanctuary is, in the lead right now in our category, but it's very close and we just have like a day or two yet to vote. So
you guys are up by 1%.
Oh my gosh, it's close. It is very close. And if we can win, we can, I think, make a statement that farm animals matter. And these are the largest number of animals that are abused. Most people are still eating farm animals. So if we can get people to vote for Farm Sanctuary to win a Webby Award, and if we're able to achieve that, it'll really, I think, create an awareness and raise awareness about who farm animals are and the fact that they deserve to be looked at in a more compassionate way. So no, thanks so much for mentioning that. And so with online content, this is something that you do, right? I mean, this is something that you've studied, and you're one of the few independent media that still exists today amid consolidation among big money coming in to control messaging, control ideas, even perhaps. And so what has that been like? And I think, with the Elephant Journal, you've been in this for a long time, but I imagine you've seen a number of things too, and in terms of challenges, but also in terms of opportunities.
Yeah, well, for everyone asking where you can go vote, go to Farm Sanctuary on Instagram, Farm Sanctuary, go to their link in bio, or you can Google Webby Awards Farm Sanctuary and vote for them. They are up by 1%. This would be the equivalent of like a bicycle winning car of the year. This is a big deal because you guys do such amazing work. And even though you're famous and everyone loves you, for animal compassion to win the animal awards would be amazing. We all love cute bulldogs who wear bow ties, but if this year, what your amazing work could win, that would bring you to a whole new audience outside of your choir. So go to Webby Awards, go to Farm Sanctuary on Instagram, and we'll keep saying that like a commercial break throughout this conversation. But you asked about independent media, and I think, you all have wonderful experience in this. A lot of us love Dodo. Basically our hearts, from a Buddhist point of view, which is kind of where Elephant Journal is coming from, our hearts are basically good and empathetic and open, but we cover them up with speediness and aggression, frustration, stress, and we stop feeling and caring. And I think what your media does, hopefully what our media does, is just bring us back to caring. And it's so much more fun to care, even though it's a little painful. It's like falling in love. It's so wonderful, but it can also be scary and you can break your heart. So I think, our whole goal with independent media is just to present honesty and truth and good reporting and wonderful personal stories. And we do tons of vegan recipes. And we have hard conversations with dear friends of ours about, there's a lot of people who like to say, pasture raised or regenerative is a wonderful option for reversing climate change, and you don't need to be vegan. And I always say to those folks, like, our common enemy is factory farming. So you do your good work. Let's all fight factory farming. But if you want to get into numbers, if you want to get into empathy, there's still, from my experience, there's no way to kill and kind of torture, which is kind of what dairy is, even humanely. So anyway, I really honor your work. How do you, I guess my question, because this is something I run into with independent media, where we're an endangered species in media. There used to be a lot of independent media without investment, without people telling us what to do. But now with Facebook and Instagram, I mean, everything we do, we're on Instagram, which is owned by Facebook right now. It's all kind of owned by the man. How do you stay inspired?
It's a really hard thing to exactly answer, and it depends day by day, honestly. And for me, one thing that's kind of kept me inspired and I think, given me good perspective over the years is to, like you said earlier, recognize that, most people really, are compassionate or want to be compassionate.
Right.
And so for me, it's about finding common ground and building from there. Recognizing that we all share the same interest in living on a clean planet with clean water and clean air that's not being destroyed by, cutting down rainforests for grazing and to feed farm animals, for example. We all, I think, prefer to be in a compassionate, kind environment and relationships than those that are toxic and abusive. And the factory farming system is toxic and abusive. And you've referred also to like this grazing animals and this less cruel animal agriculture. And that's a very interesting recent conversation. And I'm a vegan, and I think that the word humane and the word slaughter don't go together. And some of these small animal farmers who are anti-factory farming in some ways can be allies. But also, so there's the common ground is that we're all against factory farming. Where we disagree, though, is in terms of whether or not we should kill animals. And I would say we don't need to. And if we can live well without causing unnecessary harm, why should we? So it's really finding the common ground, recognizing where there are differences of opinion and being respectful about it, but also looking at actions and calling them for what they are. Factory farming is incredibly abusive, incredibly destructive, and it's got to be called out. Some of these farms that are less bad to animals are less bad to animals, but they're still killing animals. And that also needs to be, so I think integrity and being honest about it is important. And sometimes, in the big media, we have like simple messages that lose nuance. And I'm wondering also with like Elephant Journal, if that's one of the things that you kind of work through is how do we deal with really deep, complex issues in a social media environment, which is sometimes, very much driven by clickbait or simplicity.
Yeah, it's tough. It's also driven by kind of self-righteous aggression. Like, I make a mindful practice of jumping into comment forums where everyone is agreeing with each other, but I may disagree in a kind of moderate way. And, it's important for us to have tough conversations. I think for me, empathy is such a buzzword, which is almost unfortunate because we don't think about anything when we hear empathy anymore, but caring is the beginning of everything. Because if you care, then you'll be willing to learn. And education, once you start thinking about animals, like it's funny in Boulder, I have a rescue dog, and if I yelled at him like slightly or like jerked on his leash slightly too hard, 99% of Boulder, which is a dog loving city, would like string me up on a tent pole. People would tear me apart. But if I sit downtown and eat a steak, which could be a dog steak for all they know, nobody thinks anything. So that's, I think, why your campaign for the Webby Wars is so powerful, is a lot of our love for pets is a love for ourselves. We're happy insofar as the pets make us happy, but we're not really here for our animals as sentient beings who have feelings and who have their own right to love their family. And, like cows, I love these videos. I think they convert people to veganism everywhere, where the cows are let out of the barn for the spring and they're dancing around the field like little puppies or huge puppies. And, you see, oh my God, cows actually have feelings. Oh, they care for their kid. What? And then you start thinking, wow, I became vegan. I had been vegetarian for 10 years. I became vegan when I was writing a blog on elephant. about vegetarianism. And in writing the blog, I mean, you know all this, but a lot of my friends still don't know this. In writing the blog, I'm like, wait, so eggs they actually kill chickens. Eggs aren't just kind of like a byproduct of, you can't do it humanely. Like little cute chicks, like on Hallmark cards, get crushed up or suffocated to death. Male chicks have no value generally. And then with milk, oh wait, milk creates veal, which is like literally stealing away these cute baby cows from their mom as soon as they're born, and then sticking them in a freezing plastic shed alone where they're crying until they're killed. You're like, I'm not into that. I'm not into like torture and killing for my cereal. And then you're like, oh my God, there's alternatives. I can make oat milk, organic, in bulk, no plastic, super cheap, super yummy. Put some maple syrup in there, put some, vanilla in there. Like, life is good. And
There's so much.
I'm 200 pounds. I'm climbing, I'm biking. People are like, oh, how do you stay healthy? I'm like, are you kidding? It's healthier.
No, it's so true. We can live so well without harming other animals, without harming the earth. And it feels better. It's better for us physically. It's better for us emotionally. It's better for the earth, better for other animals. And, I often think about it in terms of relationships. What is our relationship with other animals predicated on? And in the case of animal agriculture, it's predicated on exploitation and extraction, where the animals are seen just as commodities, not as living, feeling creatures. And so, as you say, like in the egg industry, the unwanted male chicks are just killed right after they hatch because they're not profitable. They don't lay eggs.
Which is so sad.
It's
That's
horrendous.
So sad.
I mean, some of the first animals we rescued were found in dumpsters behind hatcheries, the unwanted males.
So you started, I mean, most people know this, but for people who don't know Farm Sanctuary, you started a farm.
Yeah, back in 1986.
For animals.
Yeah, we actually we started by wanting to investigate and expose what was happening, believing that if people saw it, they would not want to support it. So going to these places, we documented horrible conditions with living animals literally thrown in trash cans, or living animals left to die on piles of dead animals, and animals in small cages and crates in horrible conditions. So we started rescuing them, and we now operate sanctuaries in New York, in California, where the animals are our friends, not our food. And, part of the rescue work came out of our own desire to heal and to do something positive and productive amid this violence and horror that we were witnessing. And being able to rescue animals, bring them home, and watch them recover also helped us to kind of heal from what we were observing. And so the sanctuaries began in the 1980s. We continued doing our sanctuary work, but ultimately we need to change the food system so that we relate to other animals, not as commodities, but as friends, not food, as fellow earthlings. And I actually believe that when we treat them with kindness, it's actually good for us. Whereas killing these other animals and treating them with such disregard and even disdain, in factory farms, people sort of rationalize the cruelty they're engaged in by starting to demean the victims, the animals who they're killing. And so it's this mindset that's so unhealthy. And it's one that I think factory farming embodies. And so at Farm Sanctuary, we want to model a different way of relating to these animals as friends, not food. But that goes also into how we relate to other people and to the earth, and even to ourselves, to treat ourselves with compassion and to treat others with compassion, and also to be humble, to recognize that, human hubris and power have been enormously harmful. And so I think that is another very important thing for us to just bear in mind, how when folks and people as a species, we've had a lot of power, and some people, especially a lot of power, there's a lot of harm and, bad behavior that comes out of that.
So for everyone watching, Farm Sanctuary is neck and neck. They're up by 1%, but as you know, in the finish line, the other team could campaign hard and pull out the race. So if you support Farm Sanctuary's work, go to Farm Sanctuary on Instagram right now, forget us too, and go vote on the Webby Awards for Farm Sanctuary, or on your laptop or whatever. You can Google Webby Awards Farm Sanctuary and keep watching. But vote for them and get your friends. So yeah, we talk about may it be a benefit. That's sort of the Buddhist aspiration that is at the heart of Buddhism, that whatever I may do, whether I'm eating or sleeping or working or playing or with my family or my partner, may it be of benefit. If I'm traveling, may it be of benefit. If I'm having lunch, may it be of benefit. And it's just a really easy way to orient your entire life for sanity and for love. So you wake up in the morning, maybe you meditate for a minute or two just to get present, so we're not caught up in our thoughts and our fears and all that, our desires. And, you know, we can just get present and you can appreciate the world you're in, and then go out there and try to be of benefit. And I think, you know, what breaks my heart is looking at what we're doing to animals and to our planet. And, you know, sometimes people say, well, if you are vegan, why do you eat plants? You know, 90% of these crops that are grown to feed animals who are then tortured and killed. So if you even want to have that argument, if you care about plants, you'll save 85% by going vegan. And climate change, if anyone here has children, it's like, man, we are in urgent times where we got to cool the earth. The Biden administration just is, you know, passing limits on, you know, the air conditioning effects that are speeding up climate change. That'll create new jobs with alternatives. But we need to do our part 3 times a day. In my case, more like 8 times a day, because I like to eat a lot. You know, we had delicious vegan mac and cheese last week. It was amazing. You know, you can find anything. These days, even New York Times, which is kind of anti-vegan generally, did a whole article on these great vegan cheeses and butters. So back when I became vegan, probably when you became vegan, you did it way before me, I'm sure, but there were not a ton of alternatives. Now you can have the best gelato I've ever had here in Boulder at Gelato Boy, and it's vegan. You know, it's good times. I had French toast with blueberries and raspberries and boysenberries and whatever, maple syrup, vegan butter on Saturday. I had tofu scramble with like vegan sausage and biscuits, and, you know, life is good. I always say vegan tacos will convert more people to veganism than anything else. They're damn good. So,
you know, sometimes just providing somebody with good vegan food is one of the most impactful ways we can actually start creating change. Because I think one of the big fears people have is they're not going to like it, or what am I going to eat? So there's this fear of the unknown. And so just providing people with really, I think, can be a very effective way.
The Wi-Fi was just breaking up. Can people hear me okay? I mean, basically, Gene was talking about how few alternatives there were in '85. And back when he became vegan, I became vegan like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. So I'm a vegan baby. But yeah, there's so many good alternatives. There's Miyoko's butter, which is also zero waste. There's, you know, unbelievable ice creams. It's like so fun. If you go there's this website called Happy Cow, which I think is a fantastic name for a website. And you can search wherever you are, Happy Cow, or wherever you're traveling, and you can see which places offer vegan or vegan alternatives or whatever. Is fantastic. And you'll even find it in the middle of whatever you think nowhere is, you'll find it there. And then a final, you know, another reminder, a lot of people are saying you voted on the Webbies for Farm Sanctuary. This is huge exposure outside of the vegan choir. And vegans aren't all crazy advocates, but we tend to get a little crazy in advocacy because it's really moving. The more you pay attention to what we're actually doing, it is incredibly moving. And the way you love your dog or your cat, or even your goldfish, you're going to begin to love all animals and all sentient beings. And, you know, not only do less harm or do no harm, but you can have the kind of love I get to have with my rescue hound. You can have that with all animals. My girlfriend and I were just watching Secret Garden, which is a wonderful story and a movie. We were watching the '93 version. And one of the characters in the Secret Garden is friends with all the animals. And it's so delightful. Like, all children love animals. That's why most children's books are animals. When I found out that my beloved bacon when I was like 5 was made out of pigs that I was reading about in kids' books, I went vegan on my own. I was like, I'm not going to eat this stuff. And then, of course, you know, the inertia of society around me, I began eating bacon again by the time I was 6 or something. So we can change all of society. So help Farm Sanctuary do their good work. Vote for them for the Webby. We got to win. I'm super connected. I mean, I'm super competitive. I guess I'm connected, but I'm super competitive. So we got to help Gene win.
No, thank you
Gene,
so
you're a
much.
little, the audio's been tough. Yeah, I think we're losing Gene a little bit, but the message is vote for Farm Sanctuary, follow him on Instagram, and just care. It's more fun, and we can stop all this painful meanness. All right, Gene, big love. We managed to do it. We tried to do it on Farm Sanctuary account, but we managed to do it over here. All right, Gene, I'm going to bow out.